albeit a minute adrift after the other drivers fell victim to the punishing route. Freddie Loix had gone out on the very first stage with a sheared hub shaft at over 100 kilometers an hour. The same happened to Tommy Mäkinen, leaving his title hopes in tatters. His last win was way back in Monte Carlo. The Subarus were struggling. Burns from running first on the road, his chances of repeating his 99 success looking unlikely. Kankkunen was fourth. Despite running on rutted tracks littered with rocks the size of footballs, there was no sign of the Focus's reliability problems. Ford even fitted 15 kilos of armour plating to their cars. Second was Carlos Sainz, 38 seconds behind Colin McRae. It looked at last as if the Ford tide had turned.
Left, in 2.6 crest 30, 3 right plus opens. 30, K2 right through bump. And 3 right minus opens. Into K3 left minus tightens, rock keep out and tightens to 2.
Just held together fairly well. Says a lot.
No real problems. We've had a couple of punctures, but the mousse has worked very well. It's a bit surprised at the pace. We've pulled quite a bit of time on, certainly on Richard and a bit on Carlos. So it's not ideal to run first in the road tomorrow, but if we're pulling that much time, we have to really keep on going and try and take as much as possible.
The heat was unbearable. At midday it was 45 degrees. In the car it was 70. Richard Burns lost 2 minutes on day one when his suspension collapsed. His chance of playing catch-up on day two suffered when he got stuck behind Francois Delacour. His suspension also broken.
Braking, flat right 20, fast right plus in, and fast right plus 80, 90 left plus tightens maybe. We're past it, okay.
Just after we caught Delacour, we lost about 20-25 seconds passing him, but then one of the front dampers went completely and the front of the car was just on the springs. So about one of the roughest pieces, of course, the last 4 or 5 kilometres, but we lost about 35 seconds to Colin.
The top drivers were dropping like flies. Grunholm's rally ended when his Peugeot's engine gave up the ghost.
No engine anymore, no engine.
And Delacour lost a lot of time when he nearly went off the edge of a cliff.
Suddenly the car went on the right side and I was nearly in the drop. After that I had the fire in the car, nearly next to the tanks at the back of the car, that I was very afraid. I stopped the car and some spectator helped me to put the car down, and we lost maybe 7 minutes, something like that.
Burns was now up to third, but this was a rate of attrition severe by even Greek standards. But impervious to the dramas were the Fords, still 1 and 2. McRae from Sainz.
Corta, para derecha buena más, para adelante que izquierda abrir, si izquierda acá se cierra poco y no cortar, Sasar, para derecha Carras se cierra poco y se abre, para uno corto frenando mucho, izquierda media.
Without any threat, the Ford duo raced each other at a relentless speed.
moment it couldn't be better. It'd be nice if it finished tonight.
Maybe one of the Fords could have a problem. That would be a lot of help for us, but judging what they've done the last 2 days, we can't rely on that happening.
Day 3, and more heat and more drama. This time it was Burns in trouble.
Yeah, we're at the stage and the powers guys just dropped up to like nothing and just cruising along. Just keep your place, don't read them out. It's just dying. It's still moving, but it's like I've got about 40 horsepower.
We had no turbo speed or anything, so when we got here I just tried to disconnect all the things you have to disconnect, but unfortunately it wouldn't start again. The engine was full of oil.
Kankkunen in the second work Subaru also looked in trouble. A front wheel bent inwards. But as in Kenya, Toshi Arai drove into the points. With 5 of the big boys out into the points came the Skodas and even Saudi driver Bakashab in a Toyota. Sainz was slowly eating into McRae's lead until team orders to hold position were issued.
They're both important members of the team and they understand what they've got to do. They've both got to get the cars to the finish, but ultimately we will rely upon them being grown-up men and holding station.
The only message I've got is I have to arrive to the end, and that's what I'm trying.
Sainz, though, appeared to be ignoring the orders, taking the lead on stage 16. Confident that the team orders would hold, McRae was easing off to preserve his car.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm doing my job, so it's up to the management to sort the other side of it out.
In the end, Sainz pulled over near the finish and McRae reclaimed the lead. From no wins for a year to 2 out of 3, McRae now looked as if he was in the title fight.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't have been a better result. Absolutely perfect as far as that's concerned, and you still get a bit of a lead, but if the car's as good as it has been here, New Zealand's a rally I enjoy very much. We've always been very quick there. It's looking good.
So at the halfway stage in the season, despite the problems in Greece, Burns has a big lead from Gronholm and McRae, with Sainz and Mäkinen 1 point further back. July and midwinter down under for the Rally New Zealand, based in the city of Sails, Auckland. Normally, New Zealand in winter is wet and wild, but this year it was dry and warm. Great for the fans, but bad for Burns and McRae, who struggled for grip as they swept the road clean for the cars behind. Things were a bit better for Carlos Sainz. He was 4th on the opening stages near Hamilton. Eclipsing both senior Ford drivers was Petter Solberg. He was 2nd after winning 2 of the first few stages. Gronholm was 3rd, but the Peugeot on the move was number 9, Francois Delacour's. Delacour hadn't been to New Zealand for 5 years and knew only 1 stage, but he was inspired and he was leading. Fifth was Juha Kankkunen. And that other Finn, Tommy Mäkinen, struggled with a bad setup on his Mitsubishi. Ninth was all he could manage. Tony Gardemeister finished third in 1999. No chance of that this year.
We landed a little bit to the ditch, to the right side, a little bit too much, half meter or something, and then or meter. And then after that, the car started to do like twisting in a road. And then next corner, 50 meters later, we go straight to the field, and there was big drop, and the car started the rolling. I don't know how many times, but many.
Didier Auriol was also in trouble in the other Seat. Listen out for Denis Giraudais saying his prayers.
Mamie, je t'aime. Mamie, je t'aime. Mamie, je t'aime. Mamie, je t'aime. C'est bon. C'est bon. Ça va? C'est bon. Putain. Allez, va. Ça va, Didier? Tu te sens bien? Ça va, ça va.
By the end of the day, Burns had dropped to 8th, a minute and 6 seconds down.
The worst possible situation for us will be if it rains tomorrow, which I understand it probably will, because then it means whoever's in the lead actually has an advantage, because they pull more and more mud out onto the road and make it more slippery.
Sure enough, with day 2 came the rains. Burns' hopes of a win looked lost, but he drove like a demon. He set fastest time on 4 stages, at one point driving a second a kilometre faster than anyone else. Delacour's reign ended with gearbox problems.
Et la boîte faisait un gros bruit. Un gros bruit.
Past him, into the lead, went Marcus Grönholm.
Ahdas. Oikein nopea ahdas.
But like Burns, McRae was on a charge, up from 6th to 2nd.
Items narrow, 20, flat right, 50.
Despite this spin on stage 13, Burns ended day 2 in 3rd place.
20 flat right, 50 flat left.
Also pushing for points, local hero Possum Bourne. And Petter Solberg. The Hyundais were also on a charge. Kenneth Eriksson was up into the points, and Alistair McRae gave Hyundai their first World Championship stage win in New Zealand. He was 5 seconds faster than the rest of the field. Minutes later, though, his transmission seized. Grönholm came close, very close, to losing his lead on the last day.
Oikein pyöreä. 8 ja vaan se pitkä nopea risteys. Kirraa, varo.
But whereas Grönholm escaped by the skin of his teeth, Burns did not. The power steering failed less than 30 kilometers from the finish.
The power steering failed about 2 or 3 kilometres from the end of the stage, and there was a lot of oil over the engine. We got to here, turned it off to try and find out what was wrong, see if we could fix it, and then the car won't start. So.
In a double whammy, Juha Kankkunen Subaru also failed to start at exactly the same time control.
Before the the tight.
Carlos Sainz stepped in to take 3rd. The thrill was blunted though. This was the 2nd anniversary of his last win.
Para izquierda cae en cuarta, para derecha buena más ojo, para izquierda buena más, se cierra para uno corto.
2nd went to McRae. And victory is 2nd of the year to Marcus Grönholm.
very nice to win for a second time, and without any problem with the car here, so it was fantastic rally.
In the space of 2 rallies, Burns' lead has gone from 20 to 4 points. Suddenly, the championship was wide open. Finland was the setting for round 9, based around the lakeland town of Jyväskylä, about 270 kilometers north of the capital, Helsinki. This year's the 50th anniversary of what used to be called the Thousand Lakes Rally. It's an event traditionally dominated by Scandinavian drivers. In fact, there have only ever been 2 winners from outside the region. As leader of the World Championship, first off the start ramp was Richard Burns. 2 minutes later, Finland's new rally star Markus Grönholm rolled off the ramp and off to do battle.
Rally car. 2 World Championship victories.
Stage 1 was just 7 kilometers long, but the top drivers burst out of the blocks as if they were in a sprint, not a 3-day event. Burns was hot, but not fast enough. Grönholm was 9/10 of a second faster.
Viisi vaseri tiukka yli nykyahdasta suppu. 8 vaseri miinus suppu. Ja oikein eri. 8. Vaseri miinus. 7 oikein nopea.
But the big surprise was the instant pace of former Seat Works driver Harry Rovanperä. He set the 3rd fastest time on stage 1. Again, Tommi Mäkinen was off the pace, 7th on Parkala and 6th overall. His speed wasn't helped by having to pass the slowing Ford Focus of Carlos Sainz, the last non-Scandinavian to win the rally, way back in 1992.
Well, on the second stage, just in the starting line, the car started to misfire badly and didn't go for a while. I tried to switch to other maps and do everything I could. And then they radio me that I should try to change the computer. Then I changed the computer, I stopped, and then the car was running again.
How much time have you lost?
Nearly 6 minutes.
So is that game over?
Game over already.
Stage 3 and Markus Grönholm made it 3 wins from 3 stages. But just when Grönholm looked as if he was going to monopolise the rally, Richard Burns put in a blinding time to win stage 6. Hot on his heels was Colin McRae, who was 4th overall, 24 seconds adrift, but focused on a steady run to the finish. The winner in 1999, Juha Kankkunen, was mysteriously off the pace in 2000. His jumps were big, but his time's good enough only for 8th overall. Just as high-flying was Norway's Petter Solberg in 4th place.
Well, the most important thing for me now is to jump highest, longest, because I want to have lots of promotion. That's the thing, you know, so I get many pictures.
Solberg got in lots of pictures all right by planting his Focus 200 meters into the forest. And still he tried to drive it out.
What can I say? We came too fast over a crest here and we get the back end a little bit outside in the ditch. And then we just went around and into the bushes.
Stage 11 was one of the longest stages on the rally and one of the fastest. At the finish, the cars were nudging 180 kilometers an hour. With the finish line in sight, Richard Burns was in 6th gear.
And flat right, 100.
Three times Burns' $500,000 Subaru barrel rolled before slamming into a wall of pine trees. Amazingly, he still recorded the 2nd fastest time on the stage. Luckily, neither Burns nor his co-driver Robert Reed suffered more than a stiff neck.
Yep, yeah. You better slow the cars down because somebody else is going to end up in here as well. It's a bit of a stupid place to put a flying finish.
Well, Well, everything was going fine, and I just went into the last corner of the stage too fast. I had it as a 6-gear corner that tightened, and it tightened a bit more than I thought, and well, that was that.
All the Englishman could do was watch as his championship lead disintegrated before his eyes. With Burns out of the picture, Grönholm suddenly had a 38-second cushion to Rovanperä, but Grönholm had to keep up his speed or fear losing his rhythm. Fastest on stage 14 was Scotland's Colin McRae, who, despite being the most spectacular driver in the world, has never shone on the most spectacular rally in the world. McRae and Rovanperä were fighting for second. Juha Kankkunen was up to fourth overall and was driving like a man possessed. But on stage 16, Kankkunen's flying charge was grounded with a puncture. Fourth place became 10th.
Just the tire exploded, on the fast part or after the mid point about on Pohjan. Then the last 5 Ks is so rough road that we had to change the puncture and took some minutes.
Why did it take so long to change it?
We didn't have the nut gun with us, we just had the wheel brakes and normal, and it just takes that long.
It capped a bad day for Subaru. If you win here, you go into the lead in the championship. Is that something you've thought about, the fact that you could be leading the World Rally Championship tomorrow night?
No, we have to do the rally first and finish the rally, and then we will see. Okay, it would be very nice to win here. And then if we are going up to the lead, it's even more nice, but we have to wait.
At the start of stage 20, a mix-up with Rovanperä's time card forced him to start the stage late, incurring a 20-second time penalty. When McRae set a second fastest time in a row, Rovanperä found himself in third place. Colin, there's a time penalty hanging over Harry because of a check-in irregularity at one of the stages. Is that any way to take second place?
Well, okay, it's nicer to do it fair and square on the stage, but at the end of the day, if someone's made a mistake, then they've made a mistake. So we'll just wait and see what happens.
Furious about his time penalty, Rovanperä put the pedal to the metal to try and win back his lost time on stage 22. He went ahead of McRae, but on stage 23, McRae was even quicker. He showed why he's called the Flying Scotsman. But this was Marcus Grönholm's rally, led from start to finish. No one would think that this was the drive of a man who won his first World Championship rally only 6 months ago.
Good, very good. It was very nice to win here, and okay, it was not after so big fight, but anyway, it was a good.
Will you finally admit that you now have a chance at this year's World Championship?
Maybe there is a chance, yes, but we will see. A lot of rallies to go, and okay, there is a chance.
So Grönholm's win at home takes him into the lead of the World Championship from Burns, McRae and Sainz. Round 10 of the World Rally Championship and a first ever visit to the Mediterranean island of Cyprus.
Basically the biggest difference is the shape of the stages. Some they are really slow, quite rough in places, but the main difference is the speed and also the heat.
There's one stage in the recce. We were in first gear for the whole stage for 30 kilometres, so that's how twisty it is.
We are sweaty like hell, and it's very, very difficult on the long stages, I think. But same for everybody.
You don't get much air in the car. You don't get much air inside, or for yourself, or for the engine, and it's going to make it a hell of a tough rally.
Grunholm led the way, but running first on the road and feared that his Peugeot was not strong enough for the conditions. He wasn't at 100%. Fastest, a second and a half quicker over the first 6 kilometres, was Spain's Carlos Sainz. He finished second on the rough roads of Greece. In Cyprus, he was determined to go one better. Second fastest was McRae. A repeat of the Acropolis rally looked on the cards. Out of the choking dust came Armin Schwartz, the only top driver to have driven before in Cyprus. Confidently, he had the revised Octavia floating through stage 2. Calling the notes is his co-driver Manfred Hema. At 100 kilometers an hour, Schwartz got too confident.
Well, it's actually my stupid mistake. I did not really listen to Manfred enough. When I really saw what's coming up, then it was too late, because we came in too fast to this corner, and then we rolled the car.
In a matter of minutes, both Skodas were out. Louis Clement lost engine oil. Poland's Krzysztof Holowicz was pushing hard in 16th place when his world went upside down. Stage 5 was a rude awakening for the drivers. 31 kilometres over 1,000 bends, and all against the clock. Even Tommy Mäkinen found it hard to get into a rhythm. Tony Gardemeister in the second Seat had spent the morning fighting differential problems. He was 10th overall. But his teammate Didier Auriol was in much more serious trouble. The power steering had failed in the longest, twistiest stage of the rally.
After 4 kilometers, we broken the power pump steering, and I do 2 stages without pump steering, and it was quite hard.
You look absolutely drained. Why are you continuing?
Good question.
Stage 6 was